Hi, I'm Jordy Hyman, and I'm here with
Henry Rosales.
and today we're going to be talking about, I think, one of the most hotly anticipated movies of the summer, Oppenheimer. It's been out for a little while, obviously, but it was, I'd say, the biggest, at least for most, film aficionados, one of the most anticipated movies of the summer, and it came out. So yeah, let's just get into it. Henry, what'd you think of the movie?
Okay, so first of all, Jesus, bro, where do I start? So the idea of the movie is the first thing I would like to talk about. So first, I want to mention that it's about Oppenheimer, right? The dude who invented the atomic bomb. It was really good that they decided to make a movie about him, to tell people the meaning behind the creation of such a thing, which could led to our own destruction, basically our own extinction. So yeah, I think that's what the movie was for, and I think the execution of it, to tell the reason of why they made it, or why we should be more careful with our own creation if we don't want to things to get worse. We should make new things to get better, not to get worse, not to be more destructive.
For sure. Definitely great point there. I think, the movie, that overarching theme was very, very prevalent and very well done, I think. Especially, you remember at the beginning they made the reference to the Greek myth with the guy, the guy Prometheus.
Oh, yeah.
How he was chained to the pusher boulder, and I think obviously working into Oppenheimer, how he essentially that was what he did, He created, I guess he gave man a destructive force, and he was forever, in guilt for it, and punished for it. So, that was really cool. And so we got to talk about, obviously, the performances in this movie. I think Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer, definitely probably a best actor in any movie I've seen all year, quite frankly. His performance was just really... layered, and I think he felt he really did feel like a real individual, that actually he really did, I just was very impressed by that. And Robert Downey Jr. as the Louis Strauss, the lawyer, I guess he was a senator, I think, kind of governmental position he was in. He was very, very, very good in this movie, to an absurd degree.
For sure.
And all the other supporting performers, I mean, his wife, Emily Blunt as his wife, she did a great job as well.
Wait, what about the actor who did Einstein?
Yes, very. Should bring that up. He's a very, very, very talented actor. I think he really. I've never really seen a video of Albert Einstein or heard what his voice sounded like or seen how his mannerisms were in real time, but I could guess that is how he would have acted, and yes, he did a phenomenal job.
I mean, all the actors did quite good, not gonna lie.
They did.
The movie feel really comfortable with how they portray their own characters. It felt clean.
It felt very real. It felt very real and well done and thought out. Now, another big part of this movie that makes it so good was the score. The soundtrack for this movie was, the big song that everyone talks about is "Can You Hear the Music?" Obviously, that one sequence. And wow, I was very, very, very impressed with that scene. And just not that scene, just the whole soundtrack of the movie. A lot of people mentioned how they couldn't really hear it, but I think that honestly worked in its favor because it wasn't overbearing, you know what I mean? But it elevated all the scenes that it was in. It made the dramatic parts much more dramatic. It really was a great soundtrack, and
it served its purpose, being a soundtrack, not being a music you have to listen individually from the movie.
It was really good, and obviously I think the thing that a bazillion people were talking about when this movie was coming out, and that Nolan marketed so much, was the fact that they detonated a real nuke. They did it for real, and it was...
Wait, really? A real...
It was real.
Explosion?
It wasn't actually that big. They used tricks in the camera to make it look bigger than it was, but they did detonate a real nuclear bomb. Yes. Which is crazy. It
is crazy.
But
it's realistic, so I guess it makes sense.
And talk about a great scene. That sequence where they actually do the Trinity test, and they test the bomb for the first time. Obviously, history, that it's gonna go well. It's gonna succeed. It's gonna be good, but they just put you in that moment, you know, that you really felt the fear. Like it was scary.
No, especially because like so like when the explosion was like about to hit, like they got so quiet.
The sound, they made you like kind of look at it and just see it silently. And I was like, wow, that was very impressive. And then obviously the shockwave comes. You're like,
I mean, of course, like no, like so. I think it tried to give you an idea like how it would be like to actually be in front of such a thing.
Exactly,
because it's like quite different.
And it's different, and I think it was beautiful, you know. But I think it was beautiful, but also at the same time really kind of scary.
Like beautiful, like in the terms for like the graphics, but like scary, like in the idea of like being there.
Yes.
Wow.
It was just seeing the force of destruction that was very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie has been out for a little while. So I'd assume most people have seen it by now. The ending. We got to talk about that ending because, I mean, that was like... I've never seen a theater just kind of sit there and stare at the screen in like kind of shock for like 30 seconds like they did in Oppenheimer. Just leaving you with that final message of them realizing, you know, that the atomic bomb... that what they made is probably going to bring destruction to the world is really scary, and it's really relevant now, you know. I just think those final words by Cillian Murphy were haunting, and I think just the final seeing the Earth destruction, the bombs detonating everywhere, the missile shooting, that was scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's basically like bringing up the idea of the movie, like in the form of a message to mankind.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All in all, Oppenheimer, if we could do the out of 10 rating, what would you say Oppenheimer would get on the out of 10 rating?
Okay, so like when I rate like either a movie or like a TV show or anything, I mean, I do it based on the graphics, like the performance, the narrative, most of all the narrative.
Yeah.
So like I like everything. So like either either a 9.8 or just a solid 10.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty that close to me there. It's a 9.5 for me for sure. I think it was best movie this summer for sure. It was definitely
at most a 9.7 in my opinion.
It was a great movie. And go if you haven't seen it. I believe it's actually still in theaters. So if you haven't seen Oppenheimer, go into theaters and see it. It is a phenomenal movie. And thank you. So that is Oppenheimer.